What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball podcast.
Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Today I wanted to start a two-part series on flippers. For today's episode, I wanted to focus on flipper construction, how they're actually put together. And tomorrow I'll be talking about how to change them. So, for today, a flipper is comprised of a bat, a shoe, a shaft, a bushing, a pawl, a plunger, a coil, a sleeve, and a stop. All these pieces work together in order to allow you to flip. The main way that flippers vary is in the actual bat design. Some are 2-inch, some are 3-inch, some have rounded tops, some have flat tops, some have screw holes, some are pressure fit. Some have words printed on them and some are plain. But they all provide the same function. It's a means of attaching to the game that allows you to place a rubber on it so that you can hit the ball. That's pretty much it. 2-inch flippers first went into production on Gottlieb's Humpty Dumpty in 1947, which I've already spoken about on a previous podcast. Humpty Dumpty was unique in both the flipper invention itself, but also the number. 6 flippers lined up on either side of the playfield, reverse articulated. This same basic design was carried through mini machines that Gottlieb made. Steve Kordek, the legendary pinball designer, during his tenure at Genko in 1948, designed Triple Action. Triple Action was the first game to place the flippers in the orientation we're used to today, surrounding the outhole. Every other manufacturer quickly followed, as it was a large cost reduction. In 1968, the first 3-inch flipper game was made, Hayburners 2, which was also a Williams title. The 3-inch flippers allowed the player more control over the ball, and are obviously still in use today. Over time, the flippers gained DC power, and then as solid state came around and was improved upon for many years, eventually the flippers themselves came under solid state control. The player no longer had a direct impact on the flipper, and instead the computer told the machine when to flip, based on player input. Between Humpty Dumpty and Triple Action, every manufacturer on the planet wanted to get a piece of the profits from the flipper games, so they started designing them into their own machines. In fact, the design of the flipper itself is something of a contested debate or situation. Harry Mabs, who worked for Gottlieb, is supposedly the designer of the flipper. Jerry Cosey from Chicago Coin claimed to have invented it, and he received the patent for it. And hopefully I pronounced his name correctly just now. From 1947 to the modern day, very little has changed about the player's interaction with the flipper. There have always been buttons on the side of the cabinet, which actuate one or more flippers on either side. But the method of control of said flippers has changed. Williams used impulse flippers, especially in the early days. Impulse flippers do not allow you to hold. Instead, when you push the button, the flippers flip quickly and then return to their resting position. Holding the button does nothing. It requires a second button press if you want to get another flip. Allowing the player to hold the flipper button, which would hold the flipper in the engaged position, was a rather large change as far as gameplay went. Moving from manufacturer to manufacturer must have been quite the thing at the time. The amount of control that the player had with a non-impulse flipper was greatly different than playing an impulse game. That's not to say that impulse games are not enjoyable. I enjoy impulse games quite a bit. I find that they're very, very challenging, but allowing the player to hold the ball, trap the ball, shoot the ball where they desire with as much or as little force as required, it's quite a step up in playability. So that's all for tonight. Thank you again for joining me. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me at 724-BINGOS1. That's 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Cast, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at nbaldridge, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.